Hello and welcome in this session of Pedagogy of Science. Today we are going to talk about the pedagogy of a very important theme, food. And under this theme, nutrients and nutrition are the concepts which you need to deal as a science teacher at different levels. If you see the thematic distribution of content at upper primary and secondary level, there is a continuum from class 6 to class 10 under every theme. So what you need to teach at class 6 level, what you need to teach at class 8 level, or what you need to teach at class 9th or class 10 level, you decide everything according to that. What should be the methodology, what should be the assessment strategy, and all that. So to deal with the pedagogical aspect of this theme, food, let us discuss that how a teacher, how a science teacher can deal with the concepts like nutrients and nutrition. Let us first think as a teacher that how we will proceed. So when you plan to teach any concept, any topic, any principle, any fact, any theory, what you do? First you see that what is the content which is to be delivered in your class. So if it is a thematic arrangement, then you analyze different concepts and sub-concepts involved under the theme. For example, here the theme is food. So what are various concepts and sub-concepts under the theme food? Then how these are arranged gradually and in a manner so that you can move from lower level to higher level. Then you also plan what are the expected learning outcomes. If a student is learning about food in class 6, what are the expected learning outcomes at that level? If a student is dealing with the concepts under the theme food in class 8, what are the expected learning outcomes? If a student is dealing with the content under the theme food at class 10th level, what will be the expected learning outcomes? So you also plan that what are the expected learning outcome at a particular level. Then to achieve these learning outcomes, how will you facilitate learning? What kind of learning experiences you will provide? What kind of learning environment you will create? What kind of resources you will use? How will you integrate these resources into various phases of teaching learning? Means in explain phase, in engage phase, in explore phase, in explain phase, in evaluation phase. So in every phase, how will you integrate resources and how will you assess the learning outcomes of the learner for enhancing learning in this particular concept or topic. So this is the process which generally a teacher follow when he or she deal with any concept in the classroom. Let us take the example of nutrients. That what nutrients are. If you see technically what is the definition of the nutrient? Every food item and its ingredients contains some component which is needed by our body. And the component, the specific components which are needed by our body are called nutrients. We all know that nutrients are carbohydrates, proteins, fats, vitamins and minerals. And a student in upper primary level or at the secondary level is also aware of about all these terms. He or she know that we require carbohydrate, we require protein, we require fat, we require vitamins. He or she may not be aware about its chemistry or its biochemistry or its utilization, how carbohydrate get burned, from where we can collect carbohydrate. May not be in technical language, but they have the basic knowledge of these concepts. So if we are trying to deal with this concept at different level, you see this table. At class 6 level, when we deal with the topic of nutrient and nutrition and nutrients, we basically talk about food, its sources, what are different food items, what are the common components of the food items, everything comes at class 6 level. Then in class 7, we introduce the concept of nutrition, then nutrition in plants, nutrition in animals, concept of photosynthesis, and different types of nutritions in the plants. Then for nutrition we require food. From where we get food? Either from crops or from animals. Then if it is crop, then how crop is being managed? What are different agricultural practices? What are the irrigation systems available in country? What are different food resources, animal resources as well as plant resources? What is the cropping pattern which is being followed in different part of the country? How animal husbandry is helping to get food? Then what are the types of nutritions? What is the process of food formation in the plant? How food get digested? So you see there is a gradual increase of the difficulty level as well as the complexity of the content from class 6 to class 10. So there is a continuum of the content. You cannot see that the same thing you will repeat in every class. In class 6 you will also talk about food and its component. In class 9 you will also talk about food and its component. No. So as a teacher, when you are dealing to a particular class, you need to think that what is the content required at this level? What are the expected learning outcomes which a learner should achieve at this particular class? And how can you facilitate in learning? For example, nutrients. So what are the nutrients? Nutrients can be fat, nutrients are minerals, water is also part of that nutrient table, then vitamins are there, proteins are there, carbohydrates are there. If these are the nutrients, from where students can get it? What are the functions of these nutrients? These are the basic key concepts which you need to deal in your classroom when you teach to your students these topics. Now, if you need to deal with these topics, like for example, what are the vitamins? What are the sources of vitamins? What are the diseases associated with vitamin deficiency? These are few sub-concepts under the theme vitamin, under the main concept vitamin. If there are proteins, why we require proteins? What are the sources of proteins? Proteins help in what in our body? If there is protein deficiency in our body, what will be the issue? Similarly, why carbohydrates are required? So you plan accordingly that how you will deal to the content for your class. For example, if you are talking about the basic needs of our body, so you may not start with the concept of nutrients, you can start with the concept of basic needs of our body. You can ask students that what are the basic needs of our body? Tell me what are the basic needs of our body. They will say energy is the one need. So if energy is the need, from where we will get energy? We will get energy from food. That can be a common answer by the students. Then you need to explain to your students that if from food we will get the energy, then what are the components in the food which are energy giving components? And here you can introduce the concept of carbohydrates and fats. Or you can ask them to analyze their daily food routine. What are they eating? Why are they eating? What are they getting from different food items? So that can be another way to deal with the topic. Similarly, for growth and repair of the body, calcium, phosphorus, potassium, iron like minerals and proteins are required for it. Then protection against diseases. So the vitamins are the components of the food which we require for protection against the diseases, which are essential for protecting our body against diseases. So what are the vitamins? What are the sources of vitamins? Why fruits and nuts are the better source of vitamins? Which vitamin is available in which fruit? These are the basic key concepts which you need to deal when you deal with this concept of nutrients required for protection against diseases. Similarly, what is the role of fiber? Why everyone is saying, why every doctor suggests that there should be the fiber in your food? You should eat fibrous food. You should eat fibrous food because fibers help in the digestion process. So how you will introduce all these concepts how you will introduce these concepts to your students. I have one suggestion, you may have many other options too, that why can't you ask your students to explore various food items and their sources along with the nutrients found in them. So let them analyze their morning food, let them analyze their lunch, let them analyze their dinner, what they are eating in the morning in breakfast, what they are eating in lunch, what they are eating in dinner, what are different food items, then what kind of nutrient is available in every food item, and let them analyze and let them come on their own on a conclusion that whether the food which they are taking at the breakfast, at the lunch or at the dinner is able to fulfill their requirements of different nutrients or not. If not, then what is required? Here you can introduce the concept and benefits of balanced diet. So you need to link each and every content with each other, and you try to explore more and more from the learner's experiences. For example, you can ask some good food item which your students like to eat more. You can ask, what do you like to eat more? They will tell you many things. Some may like any particular vegetable, some may like any particular meat item, some may like any particular sweet, anything which they like most at their home. Now you ask them that you discuss with your mother and make a list that what are different ingredients of this recipe, and you also try to analyze that what are the ingredients which you will enlist with the help of your mother. You put in another column what are the nutrients available in these ingredients. So suppose a kheer is being made at home, so there can be milk, there can be sugar, there can be dry fruits or fruits, there can be rice or anything else. So all these things they will enlist, but that they will get from their home, from their mother, from parents, from grandparents to whom they will imprint. But our duty is not to tell them how they can make kheer. Our duty is that what are the ingredients are there and what type of nutrients are present in those ingredients. So then you can ask your learners, okay, you list what is there in the milk, what is there in the rice, what is there in the dry fruits, what is there in the sugar, and they will list there is protein, there is vitamin, there is calcium, there is carbohydrate, everything they will enlist, and then they will be able to analyze that why a food is required for our body, what are different requirements of our body, and from here, as I told you, you can move towards the balanced diet. You can give them different types of activities for this. You can ask them to share their knowledge about various food items and their sources which they are watching or they are eating every day. Few may have the knowledge about the sources. For example, few students can tell you that we are using sugar, but from where sugar is coming, maybe few students know that it is coming from the sugar cane or the potato or the beetroot. Few may not know. Then you give them an opportunity to explore different sources of sugar, what kind of sugar they are consuming, or you can give them a worksheet where some sources, some pictures are there or some names are there and let them fill their ingredients, or you can use pictorial charts also, where on one side you can place the pictures of the food items, on the another column you can ask your students that what are the ingredients, and in third column you can ask what are the nutrients available in it. So when you deal with this concept in your class, this concept is basically introduced at class 6, class 7 level. That's the starting of the upper primary level. So you need to think about various ways, various activities, various tools. Like here I have suggested discussion with the parents can be one activity, making a list can be one activity, exploring various sources of sugar can be one activity, worksheet can be one activity, Pictorial chart can be one activity. So you can use variety of activities to deal with this topic in your class. You can give them project also, where they can paste the pictures or collect the sample of food items, or you can organize at the end of your lesson or when you deal with the whole theme, a talk with a nutrition expert or a doctor. Better to find out someone who is a parent. So if parent of a student is a doctor or a nutrition expert, or in your nearby area you find any doctor or nutrition expert, you invite him, you organize a talk on the good food habits, various nutrients, their requirements, if they are not there, what can happen to our body, why we require a balanced diet type thing. So you can organize various types of activities. Why I am suggesting different types of activities? Because it depends upon the environment, upon the resources available in your area, upon the understanding level of your learners. So if I have suggested 8 or 10 activities, it doesn't mean that you will use all 8 or 10 activities in a particular theme or in a particular topic. You can choose which one is appropriate according to the level of your learner, which one is easy to organize, which can give more freedom to the learners to explore and to expand their knowledge. That is our objective basically. And when you introduce the concept like balanced diet or its basic components, then here what you need to explain basically, that though balanced diet is a concept, and if you see the textbooks or if you explore the internet, you may find either a platter of a balanced diet or some food items are there, including fruit and everything. But remember, balanced diet is not a universal diet. It varies from place to place, region to region, state to state. So what should be on a platter of the balanced diet in Kerala cannot be on a balanced diet platter at Punjab. The balanced diet platter at Rajasthan will be different from a balanced diet platter at Bihar. So you need to think that if I am teaching the concept of balanced diet to my students, then when I am trying to put everything like dairy products, bread, rice, potato, meat, fish, egg, fatty acids, sugar, fruit and vegetable, everything, what should be there in that particular region? So here you need to contextualize this concept. Maybe in your textbook, the textbook which is being used for teaching learning in your class, one example has been given. That can be according to your area, that cannot be according to your area. It is your responsibility as a teacher that you need to contextualize this. You need to contextualize this concept. Until or unless you will not contextualize the knowledge, you will not be able to tell your students clearly and efficiently. So as I told you, balanced diet is not universal. One I have shown you from the southern part of the India, then you can see two different balanced diet pictures here also. So it means that balanced diet means a diet which includes everything. It should have fat, it should have carbohydrate, it should have vitamins, it should have vegetables, curd, everything is fruits, everything is part of a balanced diet, and balanced diet is not universal. This you need to explain to your students in the class. Now how can you teach it? You can give them an activity to make a chart. It can be a weekly meal plan type chart that let them write on Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday on one column, and what they will eat at the breakfast, snacks, lunch, snacks and dinner, if they are taking 5 times a meal. Some may be taking 3 times, let them keep it 3 times. But generally kids take multiple times, they do not concentrate only on the breakfast, lunch and dinner. So what they take at the morning at the breakfast, then at the 10 o'clock or 12 o'clock, then during the lunch, then the snacks, then the dinner. So let them write. And when they write, you ask them to think about the concept of balanced diet and let them try to put every food item which is required here as a balanced diet. So if you give this type of activity to your students, they will learn from it. Then comes the concept of nutrition. What is the nutrition? Nutrition is basically the mode of taking food by an organism and its utilization by the body. That how you take your food and how you utilize in your body, that whole process is called nutrition. And if you see the nutrition in the living organisms, they are broadly categorized into two types, autotrophs and heterotrophs. So this is the concept which you need to deal maybe at the class 8 or class 9 level in your class. So when you are dealing it, the content can be a bit higher side. You can talk about its organic compounds involved in it, the processes involved in it, many things. What is autotrophic nutrition? Generally it is said that the organism which made their food on their own from the simple substances are called autotrophs, and such nutrition is called autotrophic nutrition. So if you see plants, mostly plants are referred as autotrophs, though all plants are not autotrophic. What autotrophs make? Autotroph organisms make their food by a process called photosynthesis. So here you need to connect the nutrition with the process of photosynthesis. So you need to tell them what is nutrition, what are the nutrients, how this nutrition process takes place, what is autotrophic and heterotrophic nutrition, and how plants produce their own food through a process of photosynthesis. So you need to deal all these concepts sequentially. Then when you talk about heterotrophic nutrition, generally we talk that animals and some other organisms like fungi use plants and other food organisms as their food. So they are known as heterotrophs, and such nutrition is called heterotrophic nutrition. So they do not make their own food. They use the food of developed by other organisms, like fungi grow on a plant. So fungi is a heterotrophic nutrition example. Animals are all heterotrophic because they consume whatever plants produce. So here you can see in the pyramid also that plants are considered as autotrophs, but all herbivorous and predators, whether they are carnivorous, and as well as the decay detrivores also, all comes under heterotrophic group. Now, when we talk about plants, we often find some other types of nutrition also. You may not introduce this concept at class 6 or class 7 level, but you need to introduce this concept as class 9 and class 10 level, that is at the secondary level. So there can be the plants like saprotrophs. What are the saprotrophs? Saprotrophs are the decomposers which liberate energy on their own by breaking down the complex organic material from the dead bodies of other organisms. So mostly saprotrophs are fungi or bacteria. So what they do, they basically recycle the material from the dead organism to the living ones. They consume the dead organisms, the dead bodies, the dead decaying plants, and they convert it into minerals and material. Then there can be parasites. Parasites are the organisms which live in or on other living organisms, which are called hosts. So where they receive the shelter and they derive nutrients from them. In human body also there are many parasites which attack and as well as they live. But if you take an example of a parasite from plants, Cuscuta is a very good example. Amarvale, generally it is said in the common language in India, that it grows on other plants. So such plants are called parasitic plants. Then you all have heard about insectivorous plants, like they are also autotrophic, but they obtain organic material and animal nitrogen from insects. Though they don't eat insects bigger than the size of a grasshopper, but there are many insectivorous plants. When insect come towards them, it get sticked or it get trapped, and then they slowly digest it. So you will find when you see any insectivorous plant, whether it is pitcher plant, Drosera or Diania, which we often call Venus flytrap also, They are very attractive, very colorful plants. And this attractive and colorfulness basically attract the insects towards them. And insects get trapped. So this is also kind of nutrition. Then there are some chemoautotrophs also. Chemoautotrophs are the bacteria basically which use carbon dioxide as carbon source, and they derive energy by the oxidation of the inorganic materials such as iron, sulfur, ammonium and nitrate. So they get energy from the chemical components, and they generally use chemical reactions to obtain energy from the inorganic compounds. So these are very important for nitrification, denitrification and nitrogen fixation. Rhizobium is one of the such example, which consumes nitrogen from the air and fix it. So there can be many other examples. How you can deal with all these topics? If the possibility is there, you can show them videos. If possibility is not there, you can use pictures. You ask your students to explore their neighborhood and try to find out what are the autotrophs, what are the heterotrophs in their neighborhood. You can ask your children to observe few plants at their home also. You can organize a field trip to a greenhouse which is near to your school where vegetables are being produced, and there you can ask the children to observe and prepare a write-up based on the points like what are the types of vegetables are there, what are the measures are being adopted to regulate temperature, light, water, carbon dioxide, what are the difficulties in their growth as highlighted by the owner or caretaker of that place. So with many such activities, you can basically introduce these technical concepts to your students easily. Only what is required that whatever example you are taking, try to take from their neighborhood. Try to engage their previous learning, their home experiences, experiences which they have gained from the family and the grandparents, and rope in your teaching learning. Take authentic examples, give authentic activities, and facilitate authentic learning. So I hope that if you will get an idea from today's discussion, you will be able to deal with the concepts related to nutrition and nutrients more effectively in your class. Thank you very much.